Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the documented fourth case of an Abrego Garcia situation where the administration just screwed up and sent somebody down, deported them that they were not supposed to because there were court orders telling them not to. So we have four of those. That's not, so isolated, and that's not to mention others whom very possibly should not have been deported under the law. For instance, they have a well-documented fear of prosecution. These are just four cases of administration screw-ups and ineptitude and fecklessness that ought to leave the legal system as a whole and society as a whole pretty skittish about the prospect of granting Trump and the executive branch the unreviewed authority that they seek. Okay, this one's really particularly bad, I would say. We have a guy, he's not three syllables. We know his name because he has been figuring in litigation in the Second Circuit. His name is Jourdain Melgar Salmeron, if I'm pronouncing it right. He is an El Salvadoran, has now been redeported to El Salvador, notwithstanding an order from the Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. That is like just below the Supreme Court. They say, don't deport this guy. 28 minutes later, guess what? He is deported. So it just seems like at best, at very, very best, a concatenation of screw-ups. And the Second Circuit, in fact, issued a series of what the hell questions, a really detailed filing to the administration saying, we want to hear all kinds of things. Answer questions, please, like, when did counsel for the government communicate our order? And when did you send him off? And how? A really sort of detailed briefing. Now, as we know, the administration has been more or less squirrely and evasive about answering questions from courts, especially district courts, that have been seeking to get to the bottom of screw-ups. Most recently, we had a couple, and they're still fighting on Abrego Garcia, making these, I think, pretty clear, weak claims about state secrets and the like. But in the third documented case, they clearly sent someone to Mexico whom they shouldn't have. The judge said in pretty damn clear terms, get him back. And that guy has been represented by the United States to be here's what they said. We're chartering a plane to bring him home. I don't know how hard that can be. It's from Mexico. It's the U.S. government. It's now been a few days, so what the hell? But in any event, it sure looks like they're being responsive there and not trying to shut down the courts. Likewise, we have the Second Circuit here sending a long, detailed set of questions to the Department of Justice, and in particular, the Civil Division, which, the actual division that has to send lawyers into court and stand up and make claims and arguments, A, without knowledge, and B, without any legal backing, because the administration doesn't care about it. And here they have responded. So we have an 11-page document going through in detail, question after question. But the short bottom line is we screwed up. We screwed up bad. We screwed up in multiple ways, and these screw-ups reinforced one another. Yes, we were told don't do anything, but then we got confused about this particular guy because he previously had been removed, and he wound up, it's this long letter, but I'll just cut to the chase of it, what they have to say to the court. And it's one thing for Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, others to come out and beat their breasts and say we are, Christine Leavitt, that we're sending criminals home. You don't say that to a court of law. You answer their questions unless you try brazenly to avoid, which they are doing. But basically what the division has to say is, there was a whole series of errors. These guys weren't aware. These guys were. It's all a mess. Left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. And, the bottom line is they're concrete about it. But the bottom line is, they started doing the removal before they got the order. They screwed up and didn't give the order, but it is certainly our bad. We, made a series of administrative errors, and the specificity of their response is good on the one hand, but if you really actually parse it, as the Second Circuit surely will, what you come up with is, man, these guys are Keystone cops who can't shoot straight. And it's what it overall shows about the claim that they continue to make, that they should have unreviewed responsibility to send whomever they want and interpret the law as they will, is just undermined at every turn. Remember, these are simply four people whom lawyers happen to have identified have been mistakenly deported. That's a whole different problem from having gotten their due process rights and the like. And here, because it's the Civil Division, Office of Immigration Litigation, you can't tell the court, as is the instinct of the administration, screw you courts just trying to release murderers, etc. You answer their questions. They did answer their questions. Maybe the Second Circuit is somewhat mollified because it's detailed, but still say, bring this guy back now. Maybe they're not mollified because what they've laid out here, even though it's responsive, is a whole series of screw-ups in direct contravention, right? A court issues an order. 28 minutes later, the object of the order is deported exactly contrary to the dictates of the order. That's not the sort of thing that courts are too enamored of. When they issue orders, they expect them to be complied with. So we'll see where the Second Circuit takes it from here. But we now have 4 documented cases of, oops, we screwed up. Or you screwed up, you trusted us, or at least in a couple cases. This one wasn't one of those, nor is Abrego Garcia, nor is Boasberg. And all those, they said, stop the music, bring them home. And somehow or other, oops, the administration didn't do it. So those sorts of things are still going to be worked out. It certainly makes it harder for the administration to continue to claim they should just be trusted in an unreviewable way. And I think in general, that kind of assertion of unreviewable power is trending badly for the administration. So what happens with this person in particular, that's going to be one thing. And then how it affects the overall arguments of the administration will be another. But I just want to end by reemphasizing this is not a individual district court, and you have the know-nothings in the administration like Stephen Miller saying individual communist district courts, etc. This is a panel of the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, a very respected circuit, and the administration has just inadvertently, maybe, or advertently, completely violated their order. So that's a situation that still remains to be remedied now that the U.S. has proffered its detailed explanation, and again by lawyers who are going to have to be in court and answering what judges ask them, not by propagandists who say stuff for the public thoroughfare about how these terrible murderers are whom Trump was elected to get off the streets, blah, 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 blah. Legal requirements remain. These direct order was violated, and still remains to be seen how it's going to be remedied. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.